With over 1 billion members and 2,000 years of history, the Catholic Church is one of the world's largest and oldest religions. Yet over the past 50 years, many things have changed, beginning with the institution of a new form of the Mass in 1962 that is said in English. But in some parishes, like Our Lady of the Holy Rosary in Indianapolis, the old Latin Mass is still said every day of the week, since, in a certain sense, nothing has really changed.
First of all, we have to remember that there is one Roman rite. Okay, the Holy Father has told us this repeatedly. There is one Roman rite, one Latin rite in the Roman Catholic Church, and there are two forms of that rite. There are two expressions of that rite.
Despite this technical identicality, the Second Vatican Council that started the process of change was still expecting to achieve something different, an aggioramiento, or opening up of the Church, in an effort to modernize the faith for the 20th century. Yet there are some who feel the reforms have been taken too far in relaxing the form of the Mass, and who have come to places like Holy Rosary to attend the traditional Latin Mass after negative experiences at other parishes.
The priest would be very lax in his reverence. He wouldn't reverence the altar at the start of Mass. Sometimes he didn't do the sign of the cross, and it went on from there.
Another main objective of the reforms was to reverse the decline in church attendance, but this too has had mixed results.
I also remember reading things that, ideally priests would imagine, after the Second Vatican Council and after this wonderful liturgical revolution, that confessional lines would be incredibly long, they'd be out the door and around the block. That Mass attendance would skyrocket. That Holy Communion would be, reception of Holy Communion would be so increased many, many times. Unfortunately, we've seen the opposite.
And while it is not clear that the liturgical changes themselves have accelerated drops in attendance, there are those who see a connection.
Obviously, society has secularized greatly in the last 40 to 50 years, but without the Church standing firm to its traditional beliefs, sacraments, it's obviously accelerated the downward spiral that we face today.
Whether related or unrelated to the liturgical changes, the downward spiral is undeniable, with fewer and fewer Catholics regularly attending the Mass, all of which seems to pose the question, what is the future of the Church in the 21st century?
The Church may become smaller than what it was, but the people who are left are going to be much more fervent in their faith, and it's parishes like this and others, there are many hundreds of them all over the country, that are living traditional Catholic values.
It is perhaps significant that the new pope chose the pontifical name Benedict after Saint Benedict of Nursia, who is credited with preserving European culture through the early Dark Ages, and whose motto was, "Pruned it grows again." Whereas the 20th century liturgical changes were an attempt to maintain the Church's prominence, the 21st century is perhaps a time of preserving its traditional core, in places like Our Lady of the Holy Rosary. And because of this, faith remains in the Church's resiliency.
The Church is indefectible. It will be around forever until the end of time. People have tried to destroy the Church both from the outside and from the inside for more than 2,000 years now, and they have not succeeded. They won't succeed in the future either.